Hello everybody. Today we are going over the popular video transcoder program called HandBrake. I will be showing you how to make presets, how my presets are set up, and how the overall program works. Okay, so before we dive down in how to use HandBrake, I want to quickly go over what HandBrake is and why it even exists. By starting at the Wikipedia page for HandBrake, we can see that HandBrake is a free and open source transcoder for digital video files that was originally developed in 2003 by Eric Petit to make ripping film from DVD and data storage devices easier. So let's break it down. Let's start by free and open source. So what open source means is you can go to a place like GitHub where the code is published for HandBrake. So that means that you can download the source code and actually change the program and make your own custom version of HandBrake. If we go to wowza.com, we can see the definition of what a transcoder is. And we can see that a transcoder is simply an umbrella term that covers a number of digital media tasks. These tasks include transcoding, transrating, and transizing. Now, transcoding is taking already compressed or encoded content and decompressing or decoding it, and then somehow altering and recompressing it. Transrating refers specifically to changing bit rates, such as taking a 4K video input stream and converting it into a lower bitrate stream. And transizing refers specifically to resizing the video frame, where you can take a video source such as a 4K video and size it down to a 1080p or a 720. Now all the boring stuff is over, so to download HandBrake, I always recommend download software from the manufacturer's homepage. In this case, it's handbrake.fr, and it's as simple as clicking the download. You will get the latest version, or you can check other versions or formats. And we can see that it exists for both macOS, Windows, and Linux. I already installed HandBrake, so I'm not going over the install. I am fairly certain that HandBrake do have a guide somewhere on their forum. Now, let's get into HandBrake. So, when you open HandBrake, you will be presented with this interface. So, I have a DVD right now in my computer, and that's what you can see here. It's one of my old classic DVDs, Hangover. Now, I'm not gonna rip this in front of you here. I'm simply stating that you can, if you have a DVD in, it will be displayed here and you can rip directly from the DVD, or you can choose a single file to transcode that. You can also import a whole folder full of episodes. Let's say you have ripped all the seasons of Game of Thrones for your own personal viewing, or just make a backup in case your DVD breaks. In that case, you can click on the folder, you can select a folder of content and you can select it. And in my case, I only have one file here, but if you have multiple files, you will see on title, there's a drop down on every episode or media file that you imported there. Now in my case, this is for some reason a text file, so I'll open a single file because it's easier to show you. So let's go to this. That's an old classic from 1955. Okay, so now you imported your first video. Let's go over the overall functionality here. So we have open source, which is selecting a new file or just back to this menu. In our case, we already chose a file. We can add it to queue. We won't do that now. That's after we have changed all the desired settings and set everything up to our liking. So if you have multiple episodes and nothing much change, you can actually use the arrow key here and add all, and simply add all the episodes that you import to the queue. On that note, the queue. The queue is what it says it is. It's a queue where all the jobs you are encoding are. So let's say you have multiple encodings or multiple episodes waiting in the queue. You can select one, do the settings and add to queue, and then move on to the next one, do the settings, add to queue. Or if the settings are default, you can simply say add all. In both cases, these will show up on the queue. Since I haven't started any or don't have any, mine shows a start queue. Usually you would see pause queue in the middle of a transcoding. You cannot pause in the middle of a transcoding. You will have to wait until the job is done, and it will pause before the next job runs. So keep that in mind. Otherwise you will have to do the whole job over again, and that's gonna be annoying if it's a Blu-ray where it takes up to 4 hours with good quality. On that note, preview. We do have the ability to actually see a little bit of the video. I'm not gonna click live preview right now because it takes some CPU cycling to actually preview it. We have the activity log, where we can see everything we have been doing or all the jobs we have activated. And we have the presets. So the preset is this window. It pops back and forth. I will show you in a minute how you can make your own presets. Now if you look over here at summary, we can see a summary of all the settings that has been chosen. So track for audio, filters, size differences. So yeah, just the ordinary summary when we can choose the output format of the file we want. Under dimensions, I wouldn't recommend you fiddling around with this for the sole reason that HandBrake actually auto detects the dimensions of the video you import. So it would be the native sizes. You could change these to 1080 by 720, but you risk the whole movie is getting stretched. So usually the automatic cropping and automatic sizing is almost perfect. Filtering. This is also something that gets done automatically. I am never in here to change anything, and I wouldn't advise you to do so either, because it puts overlays over the video. If you're doing this with home videos and you want to transcode, yeah, you put filters on it. So you can make a video look older than it is, something like that. But again, I wouldn't recommend it. Video. This is where some of the magic happens. So the video encoding, or what format the video is getting encoded in. I always choose H.264. You can choose your frame rate. And down here under optimize video, we do have the ability to tune our encoder for what type of content we have loaded. So for example, let's say a film, and we might want high quality. And encoder level 4, that's fine. So the faster you're setting this to, the lesser quality you're getting. So if you are setting this to slower or slow, I would say that's very good bet. I'm usually setting mine to slow, and on Blu-rays I'm setting mine to slower to get the really crisp quality. Now, on my presets, on the films, we can see that I have my encoder profile set on high. My encoder is tuned to film, and actually I have mine on 4.1. And my video encoder codes to 264, and my quality is set to 22. Now, you could go all the way over here and all the way down, but I don't really see the the appeal of doing that, because it's not very noticeable. If you want quality on your videos, It's the encoder presets, I would say, would give you the most benefit. And then set this in a range between 22 and 19. So for animated 2D animations, I would set it to 19, and for regular films, 3D animated films, I would set it to 22. Audio. Usually you have audio when you input a video. You can't, as far as I know, yet import a separate audio file or an audio track and add it to the encoder. However, you can do that with subtitles. We can add all remaining tracks. We can see that we have multiple. So we have audio scan, which actually is not a subtitle. It will look for a file, or more specifically a subtitles file named the same thing as the video in the same folder. If you choose burn-in, it's the same thing as saying subtitles always on, you cannot remove them. I really don't like that, but I like the option. You can also say it's default, which would just be the default, and you can only choose one of these. This is a bit hard to see, but I know for a fact that this is the English track. So if I want to import subtitles, let's go to their test.srt. And we're just gonna remove the there. Are you sure you want to change? Yes. Okay. So this is now considered as subtitles file because of the .srt. And we can see down here that it supports SRT, ASS, SSA, and so on. So I can select this file and just open, and now it added my test, and I can tell it what language is this, what type of character is it, is there an offset, so how long into the video do my subtitles have to start. I can again choose if it's burn-in or default, and I can name it. So test chapters. Since this is a DVD now, we can see there's multiple chapters. We can import more if you have a text file that notates where in the video or how far into the video, as you can see here, one chapter is. You can also export these, but I never really use this part. Now I will go back into my summary, check is everything as I want it to be, and I can see I have +1 subtitle track, and it applied a filter automatically. And I can see my display. Yes, so I can choose what type I want. So MP4, and I usually choose web optimized as well. So I'll get a .mv4, which is a streamable file. I can say start encoding, which started it. Be aware when you start encoding on HandBrake, your processing power or your CPU will go to 100%. Now I can go up and click on start encoding, and the job will show on queue. Now, depending on the size, like the resolution of your file, this can take anywhere from a few seconds to a few hours. So this is not going to take long. So if I click start encoding, yes, already had it for some reason, and we can see the encoding here, and it's done. And we can literally say, if we say statistics, we can say encoding time, it took 5 seconds. This is only because the resolution was really low. If this had been a Blu-ray, this could take close to 4 hours, especially if it's Ultra HD. If you have a lot of files queued up, and for some reason Windows has to soon update, well, you can export the queue So all the settings and all the configurations you have made to those in the queue will be there and loaded. So if you go to options, you can select import queue or export queue. If you export the queue, you can give it a name, put it anywhere and just save. And next time you want to import after you finished your update, you can click it and import it. Now, I know I don't have anything in the queue right now, but even if you have hundreds of files in here, it's still gonna work. Presets. Now, the way you make presets is by choosing an existing preset and modifying on it. So we can take something like our HQ 1080/30, and we would say, okay, it has to be web optimized. We can go to in here and say it has to be slower, and for some reason 19 and 0.1. That's fine, that's fine. We can also change the filtering behavior for subtitles like we could for our audio. And after I've done this, let's say I just wanna, yeah, we want that, and we want that, apply. And now we can add by just pressing here, and it gives us the option to use the current settings we have and give it a name. And it will remember these settings and apply these settings to every file you import as long as you select the preset. So let's just say test preset. Pardon my spelling. And dimensions, always use the source. Resolution, audio, selected behavior, we can select the template, and the same for subtitles. And I can choose a category, so I can make a new category and just keep my custom presets. I'm gonna press add, and it's there. And you can always see what preset you're using up here. This was the basics of HandBrake. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching. This was all I had today for HandBrake. I hope this helped you cover majority, if not all, of HandBrake. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the description. I will try my best to answer them as long as possible. And if you like this video, please leave a like. Otherwise, you can use the other button as well. Have a great day. See you next week. Bye.